Like and subscribe right now, or you're going to have bad luck for the rest of the week.
There are a couple of animal rivalries on planet Earth, and amongst them, the most commonly known as the cat and dog rivalry. Everybody knows that cats and dogs dislike each other, but what other animals are there that hate each other? Today, we are talking about more of those pairs. Let's go look at them. Number 10. Sperm whales and giant squids. Let's start off with some underwater giants that are bigger than most of the animals on our list. Not much is actually known about the rivalry between this whale and the giant squid, as the fights are so deep below the water surface that none of their fights have actually ever been recorded. So, how do we know that these very specific animals dislike each other? Good question. Here's the answer. It is quite common that marine biologists find scars on sperm whales that match the giant squid tentacles, and we have also found indigestible parts of a giant squid inside a sperm whale's stomach. We could not possibly imagine how these deep-sea fights actually go down, but one can imagine how epic it would look. Fun fact, did you know that when sailors back then claimed to have met the infamous Kraken, they might have actually seen a giant squid? Number 9. Lions and hyenas. If you have seen any of the Lion King movies, you already know what all of this is about. Scar leading a gang of hyenas is the ultimate betraying your family move, because you'd never see that happen in real life. Many people assumed that the hyena and lion rivalry was only made up for this Disney movie, but that is far from the truth, as we are today here to find out. You would think that, because the hyenas were so afraid of Mufasa, that there would be a clear winner here. Well, not exactly. Hyenas have a large number of animals within their group and can give the pride of lions a really hard time. They hunt very similar prey, leading to fights between them to make sure their family secures the valuable meat. While a lion may be bigger and stronger, the opposite party usually travels in a much larger number and might just outnumber them. In the worst case scenario, who wins might just come down to how many of them there are. Overall, this rivalry does not exist only on screen, but is very much real. Number 8. Bees and Asian giant hornets. These little flying guys don't trust each other, but the bees are worse off in the situation. The Asian giant hornets are truly terrifying, and as their name states, they are quite big compared to normal hornets, 3 times the size of a European hornet to be exact. The hornets ravage the bee's nest in search of larvae that they can take back to their own nest as a snack. Not very nice to see some baby bees, if you ask me. The hornets have huge mandibles and can decapitate 10 bees in a minute, which is very scary for the bees, of course. But that doesn't mean that our little fuzzy pollinators are helpless. The opposite, actually. The bees have managed to find a way to get back at these hornets. When one of the hornets comes into the nest, bees will alert the family around them and swarm it. When they have completely covered it, they start to slightly vibrating and warming up the hornet so much that it basically gets cooked from the inside. A scary defense mechanism, but it sure does work for the bees. Number 7. Cobras and mongooses. You would probably think that no animal could be crazy enough to go toe-to-toe with a cobra. Well, do I have news for you. The mongoose will take the cobra as a meal, if it does have the chance to do so. Their receptors make them almost completely immune to the snake's venom, and their thick fur coat probably helps a lot out too. You would never think that an aggressive snake like this would try to flee from this rodent, but that is exactly what happens every now and then. The mongoose has fast reflexes and will evade the snake most of the time, unluckily for the cobra. Not only is the mongoose rather fast, but it also has sharp teeth that it will use to bite the snake while trying to stop it from slithering away. More often than not, you will see this rodent walk away with a limp cobra in its mouth. These mongooses are very brave little guys. Not everyone can brag about the fact of being able to wrestle one of the most toxic snakes on the planet. Number 6. White sharks and orcas. Let's face it, the thought that 2 dangerous ocean animals fight occasionally is pretty scary. Let's also acknowledge that both the orca and the great white are not known to be the calmest sea animals out there. So how would it look if these 2 behemoths ever met? Well, not very nice, that is for sure. The orca, also known as the killer whale, is one of the biggest jerks you can find in the ocean. What, you don't believe me? Orcas are actually known for attacking whale babies. First, they will approach a mother with their calf, aiming to separate them. When that is successful, the orca will ram the baby or hold it underwater so it won't be able to go back to the surface to breathe. While sometimes the mother can save the baby, unfortunately that is not always the case. The same happens with dolphins and seals. The dolphins will be rammed at full speed, and any unlucky seal could be flung 80 feet into the air with the killer whale's tail fin. Even the great white shark is known to be a victim of these attacks, and more often than not, an orca will win the fight. Sharks hate them and are more likely to get out of their way rather than to attack them. Number 5. Ants and termites. Rivalries between animals happen even at the smallest scale. It would be hard to root for the termites, especially if you've been on the receiving side of their destruction, but it would be hard not to feel sorry for the termites in this situation. The rivalry between these small animals usually ends well for the ants. Their mound, which is made out of soil, termite saliva and dung, could take up to 5 years to build. Ants, of course, don't care about all of the hard work that went into the termites' home and invade it. Ants will kill most of the termites and banish the rest out of their home, taking it over as their own. Why do they do this, you ask? Well, if you remember our hornet and bee situation on our list, this is basically the same thing. The termites' larvae are good nutrients for the ants, and the termites' mound actually resemble an ant home in many ways. So why build their own home when they could just take one from the termites? Termites unfortunately don't stand much of a chance against the ants. Number 4. Polar bears and walruses. Everybody knows that polar bears usually live off of the seals and wait for them by their breeding holes to hunt them. But what if food is scarce and the polar bear cannot seem to find any seals? Well, that is where the walruses come into play. If you can't find your usual source of food, it is time to aim for something bigger. And that is exactly what this bear will do. Polar bears will run into a group of walruses and search for the easiest prey to pick out of the bunch. The bears are natural predators and much stronger than the walruses, but that doesn't mean the walruses don't stand a chance. Their long and sharp tusks can be used to ward off any predator, and in fact, some polar bears were found dead or injured with tusk wounds. The bears usually stay away from walruses unless they are incredibly hungry, and if they are that hungry, they usually end up succeeding in their hunt. Number 3. Pythons and alligators. The Burmese python originally came from Southwest Asia, but they were introduced to the Everglades National Park, where they coexist with American alligators. You can believe me though, that this isn't a peaceful coexistence. Male American alligators can reach an average of 11.2 feet and can weigh up to 1,000 pounds. The Burmese python can range from 16 to 23 feet and weigh up to 200 pounds. You would think that the alligator could win the fight just by sheer weight, but that is not all true. While they don't go out of their way to antagonize each other, when they do meet, it's not very pleasant. While the python kills while choking their prey, the alligator has a pretty mean bite. The difference between them is that the python swallows the alligator whole, while the gator will eat the python in pieces. The thought that this snake could swallow a whole alligator is pretty scary, don't you think? Number 2. Crocodiles and hippos. Usually, hippos are seen as chubby and lovable creatures that won't be able to do you any harm. Well, this is far from the truth. Even though they fundamentally feed on plants, hippos are one of the most aggressive animals on Earth and can rip a canoe in half with just their powerful jaws. And they kill about 500 people in Africa each year. And if you had to live your life next to crocodiles, you would probably also decide to be fear-inducing instead of harmless-looking. Crocs will usually stay away from hippos, but can't resist the bit when a baby hippo swims by, which of course makes the mama hippo incredibly mad. A hippo family might charge at a crocodile and get it stuck in the middle, ending up injuring it or even drowning the croc. Now, if you were a crocodile, wouldn't you also stay away from hippos? Number 1. Elephants and rhinos. If you know anything about elephants, it is most likely the fact that they are huge, and to be exact, the biggest land animal currently existing on Earth. Rhinos are not as big as elephants, but can still be considered a big land animal. Elephants are usually rather calm animals, but can go into a period that was named Must period, in which their hormones are going crazy, making them more aggressive than they usually are. While in this period, they will attack anything in their path, including rhinos, which is why the rhinos stay far away from them. In February of 2000, a young group of orphan elephants was reported to have actively hunted down and killed 36 rhinos. These elephants had developed extremely aggressive behavior, and this may have happened because of the lack of adult supervision. And there you have it, 10 animals that hate each other. What did you think about this video? Is there anything we missed? If you liked it, please leave a like down below and hit the bell to be notified first when we post. Thank you for watching, we'll see you in the next one.